episode 2 of the live action The Man in the Straw Hat. On this week's episode, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami find themselves imprisoned on an island overtaken by Buggy D Clown. In a series of flashbacks, we learn of Luffy's infamous straw hat and of its previous owner, Hat Shanks. We're also introduced to the existence of the Red Line, the Waist Line, the Grand Line, the Phone Line, and the Ultimate Max Ultra Intense Mega Deluxe Line, or as Pulp Fiction would put it, a Royale with cheese. That might be all made up, but I mean, who really knows? Anyway, lastly, Kobe, along with his sidekick Helmeppo, decide to join the Marines in order to prove their mettle. Did someone say training montage? And now, this is your weekly reminder that if this is your first time diving into the series, do not worry, we won't spoil anything past this season of the adaptation. Though we may drop a few names or locations, fret not, any future events will remain a glorious mystery to you should you choose to continue on this path. And once again, as a bonus for these sets of episodes, we've got a different guest for each one of our recordings, meaning we'll get a nice variety of opinions, which should provide a much-needed insight to the overall One Piece community. So, without further ado, I'll introduce this week's guest, Funky. How you doing, Funkerino? Are you ready to give some spicy-ass opinions?
I don't know about spicy. I don't know if I'll be as spicy as some other people that you're going to get on.
Oh, surely you've got something to say that people won't like.
I don't know. Maybe me sort of enjoying it will be the thing that people don't like.
Not from what I understand.
That's true.
Adaptation, it's been hard to dodge reviews over time for the adaptation because unlike us, everybody else binged it in the first day it was out. So there's a plethora of reviews out there. And from what I can tell, mostly positive, actually.
Yeah, it's getting, from what I'm seeing, it's like, I know like Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean like anything really, but it's sitting at like between 80 and 90 on that. And like IMDb's got like an 8.4.
Yeah.
And I think it's
across the board.
Yeah. And it's currently like #1 watched show in like 84 countries or something. So that's pretty mind blowing. But I guess there's just a big difference in opinions on the general audience compared to maybe some people that are way more into the manga and stuff. And yeah, I've definitely seen some negative opinions around, but I'm very so far I'm pretty positive with it. Like I'm quite enjoying it. There's criticisms and stuff that I'm like questioning, but overall quite happy.
Cool. Now keep it straight with me. Have you only actually watched up to the second episode so far like me, or have you gone further than that?
For legal reasons, I choose not to answer. No. Wow. Because I'm a degenerate, I may have watched the entire show in one day.
So just everything I said earlier, the whole like everybody else having watched it in the first day, just ignore that. That's 8 hours of content, Funky. Did you just set aside the day to watching the One Piece live action? Well,
I went out the night before, so I was extremely hungover, so I wasn't doing anything anyway. So I just literally woke up and put it on.
Actually, what time would it have? It would have come out. What time did it like drop for you? Was it just midnight your time?
No, it dropped at 8 a.m. So like right when I woke up.
Oh, that's perfect then.
It was literally perfect. So yeah, obviously I'll just keep it to this episode, but yeah, that maybe is something for the audience to know that I have got more context, but yeah, I'll keep it to this episode.
Sure. So keeping it to this episode, as you said, give me something you thought the episode did good. What's some of the positives you got for this one?
I think the automatic choice is just Jeff Ward as Buggy. He absolutely killed it.
I agree.
I love his interpretation of the character. It's a little bit darker. It's not it's still comedic, but it's not quite as like Buggy just being the butt of the joke constantly. But I like that because it works in the context here of him being like a real psychopath. I think
it sort of fits into this theme that the live action is going for, where they are having this slightly darker tone to the way things are done, a la Zoro icing somebody, or I shouldn't even say somebody, Mr. Seven in the first episode.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like it's it's definitely darker, but it's not to the point where they're making it like crazily edgy. It's still keeping like the lighthearted tone, but just adding a bit more of like this world is not good. Like there's a lot of messed up stuff happening.
Yeah, it's really, especially through Nami's character in the first 2 episodes, they're really leaning into this. Pirates are awful people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like with having all of like an immediate sort of one that you can think of is like having all of the townspeople like chained up in the audience and like forced to like take part in this really like this just really cooked circus show. I actually really liked that choice. It like just added to the atmosphere and holding up all of like the audience cards and stuff like that. I thought that was a good touch.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun divergence from just having the townspeople kind of just show up randomly throughout those couple of episodes in the anime. And now, unfortunately, that means that some parts of it get axed.
Yeah.
Such as the mayor playing a bigger part, and more importantly, the introduction and character arc of Chushu, the dog.
Yeah, that one, I was really hoping that they would still do the Chushu arc, because that's one of the first really early parts in the series where you get like a bit of an emotional hit, and it gives you like that little tease of what's to come with how emotional the show can be.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing that I really like. They show you Shushu, and if you know, but if you don't, it's just a dog.
Yeah, it's just a little Easter egg for the people that know it.
Yeah, so that I can't lie that disappointed me a little bit, because I did enjoy that. And then the whole part we also dodge the thing I kind of don't care about that we lost, and I thought was an improvement from the anime, is that we ditch buggy bombs.
Well, not completely. There's the implication, but we don't see them at all.
But we don't actually fire one, and so we don't get the whole, like, the implication is there that they probably, again, this is a if you know
it's
type of thing.
Yeah.
They probably used a bunch of buggy bombs to absolutely decimate the town, but we don't ever see it in the live action. So we have this, there's a cannon there, and it seems like they might use it, but they don't. But it's fine, because then you don't see the destructive power of it one time, and then the second time it's like a dud that they shoot off at the end of the buggy arc there in the anime. But
I just remember that. Yeah, it's like it's only effective that one time, and the rest of it, it's just so useless. No, but yeah, I think it's sad that they cut the Chushu stuff, but I see why they would cut that, so they could just really focus on Buggy and Luffy's interactions. But one thing I will say is that with removing the Shushu stuff, you also do get a bit of a you're missing some of the thematic stuff that's in the original, I guess, like with the whole treasure aspect, and like what treasure means to different people and stuff like that, like with Luffy's hat, or the town, or the pet shop. Yeah,
that is the early introduction of one man's treasure, but I think they kind of roll it back in fairly nicely early on in that episode, where Nami is screwing around with the safe still, and Luffy's bugging her and stuff, and so she flicks the hat off of him, and he goes running for it because that's his treasure. And she calls it garbage or trash, and Luffy it was a little cheesy, but Luffy gives the one man's trash is another man's treasure line.
There's
I thought maybe that could have been workshopped a little bit better to just not be the saying, but nonetheless, it kind of gets across early in the episode the idea that people have their own definitions of what is meaningful to them, and then I think it is rolled pretty nicely into the end of the episode, where the hat, they do the scene from the anime where the hat gets damaged because Buggy got a bunch of knives through it, and Nami repairs it for him, and they have that little bonding moment because he also gave the map to her, which I don't think he relinquishes the map to her in the anime. I don't recall.
No, I don't. Like, there's definitely a lot more focus on the map in this series.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah. They have to focus on something if they're not going to sort of focus on these interactions between the characters. So they have to give a more concrete reason for Buggy to just be there and be antagonizing them.
Yeah.
So Nami gets the map from Luffy again and starts feeling, when he had no reason to hand it over because she has this negative implication towards pirates. And so she feels a little bit better about him and repairs the hat, which I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, I think they still there's definitely still that thematic sort of, it's getting touched on and it's there, I think, just enough that you get the idea of it. Some of the dialogue's a bit on the nose, but you get the idea of what different treasures are to different people and all that kind of stuff. And oh my God, I was going to make a point then and then my mind just went blank. Oh yeah, I was going to say that I did really like that scene at the start with Nami trying to open the safe and Luffy just being an absolute pain. When he just leans next to her and tries to listen through her head.
Dude, he's a menace. He's a menace in that scene.
Yeah, and when when the audience is clapping and then you just see him clapping and Nami just slaps his arm away. Just all these little moments are just really selling me on Inyaki's portrayal of Luffy. I think that's probably one of the strongest points is that Inyaki is just killing it as Luffy.
Oh, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I so badly wanted to give him the golden ham last week because he's so good at delivering the lines and having that kind of goofy, high-pitched voice, but when things get serious, he can put on the serious face like Luffy does. And I think he's doing such a fantastic job.
Absolutely. And that's it's such a hard character to portray because Luffy is just so out there. And if you tried to one for one it from the manga or the anime, he would just be the most annoying character in the whole show. And so they're finding even with some corny lines here and there, they're finding a really good balance with portraying Luffy as this naive idiot that really cares about certain things and really cares about the people he's only just met and the hat and all that kind of stuff. And also with Luffy, there's just this sense of joy with him that is such a core part of the series, and they're definitely hitting on that. And also with when there are some corny lines here and there, but sometimes when Luffy has a corny line, I don't find it as corny because he is by definition corny and naive. And so when he says something, he's going to say it straight, as he's heard it. Yeah,
I agree. There obviously needed to be compromise between the anime dialogue and what they did with the live action. And so far, it seems like the balance has been really good. I remember reading something not too long ago, maybe a day or two ago, about a rare interview that Oda did with some internet or some online publication about how strictly of a leash he kept on his property. So it seems like things went through Oda numerous times before it was approved to, scenes were, reshot, rewritten minorly to kind of fit the vibe that he was willing to put forth with the live action. Yeah. And it shows.
Yeah, you can really tell that they really have given it even with some stuff missed, you can tell that they're just they're giving it their all with this and they're trying to just make it as good as it can be and capture I think even with me having some criticisms on them missing some thematic stuff, the vibe is there and the performance is there and the joyfulness of the series is there, which is such a key aspect. And also some of the other stuff it can be added. None of that is deal breaking. None of that is stuff that is gonna create problems for future seasons. It just would be good if some of that is addressed in future seasons with some of the character work and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just to move on to maybe a few more specific scenes. How did you feel about the bar, in Luffy's flashback, the bar fight between Shanks's crew and the random other goons crew?
Oh, this was I think his name's Higuma, the mountain bandit. Is that? Yeah.
I don't remember, I'll be honest.
I think that's I really enjoyed that scene. Just the camera work and all of the fight choreography was just great. Especially Yasop, when he pulls the second gun out and fires it at the pole and then it rebounds off and hits the dude in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's such a cool little shot. I am sort of a little bit sad that they missed the line where Shanks says, like, put your life on the line when he gets the gun pointed at his head, because I really like that moment where, like, he's like, the random dude points the gun at his head and Shanks is like, put your life on the line. Those things aren't just for threatening people. And then Lucky Roo just ices him.
Yeah.
I miss that. But other than that remission, I really enjoyed the fight scene.
I think they had a nice compromise to that where Shanks does the finger gun at the person behind the captain, the mountain bandit captain, and he pretends to fire, and then Lucky Roo is behind Shanks and ice that guy.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty fun. Now, that being said, I think the scene as a whole, like fighting through the Yasopp bit, I can agree was pretty fun, but that like rolling shot with Lucky and Yasopp walking down the path, for lack of a better term, I thought it was a little goofy. Some of the stunt falls of like they get hit and then they fall. It felt a little not great. I'll be honest. Like, it looked like whoever it was, we'll say a Lucky would swing at a guy and the guy would do the turn his face, but he didn't really get hit or anything. And it's the fake fall felt kind of, I don't know. It had a sense of too much goofiness to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. There's a little bit of like that. Like, it was a little bit too cartoony in the way some of those people fell.
Yeah,
a little bit not like. And I know they're not exactly going for realistic, but when there's a fight happening, you sort of want there to be a little bit of impact and like realism in that sense.
Yeah,
I did really like.
That's a good word.
I did really like Lucky Roo just beating the shit out of his people with the piece of meat.
That's true. That was funny.
That's a good touch, but no, I agree with you. I see what you're saying with that bit. Yeah.
Jumping forward slightly to the Shanks saving Luffy from the Sea King. This is again a scene that I think was a little disjointed. No pun intended.
Oh my God.
Where
you didn't have to. You could have just left it, but you had to.
The inspiration came to me in the moment. I had to. So I guess pun was intended. Anyway, I feel like the scene that was put forth is a little hard to recognize that Shanks got his arm torn off. Like the Sea King pops up out of the water or something to that effect, and then Shanks just kind of like turns back to Luffy and pushes him back like a foot, and then we zoom out again to Shanks turning back to the Sea King, and like part of the boat is gone, so apparently the Sea King lunged at the boat, and that was the moment that Shanks loses his arm. But it really didn't feel like a moment that he should have, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because like that's also similar in the manga where you don't realize what's happened until you get the shot of him without the arm. So like I like that they kept it, so they like you get that reveal after he's told like the Sea King to go away and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like it's hard because you've either got to just have that shot be where like you see the arm get torn off and have the impact there, or do it the way they did, where you don't really realize something bad's happened until you see it. So like, I'm not sure how to feel about that one. Like, I was okay with it because I like the way that you have the reveal afterwards, but I could see the criticism of like, it feels a little bit weird and it doesn't like really look like much happened in that first shot when the Sea King lunged.
I think my main gripe with it, I like the way they do it in the anime, and then in this where you don't see what happened until the moment Luffy does. I think my gripe really with it is that it doesn't ever, to me, doesn't feel like at any point the Sea King really attacked the boat. Like there's no big thud or crunch as the Sea King takes a bite out of the boat and subsequently Shanks' arm. It's like I said, there's just kind of a moment where Shanks, sees that the Sea King is about to attack, pushes Luffy back like a foot, but there's it just didn't, maybe I'm misremembering it, but in the time, it didn't feel like there was like a noticeable sound cue that the Sea King attacked the boat.
I think that's the issue. I think if they just added a little bit of a crunch and like even like a little bit of a like
wood
underneath
splintering,
a wood
something.
splintering, and even like a bit of a squelching, like, and then like a bone crunching sound underneath it. So like if you were listening for it, you'd sort of be like, oh, wait, that didn't sound like just the wood breaking. Did something happen there? But really, there wasn't really much. I think that's, I don't think it's the shot itself. It might be just like the sound design there could have used a little bit more work, which is kind of surprising because overall I've really enjoyed the sound design for the show. Yeah,
that's true. It's been good, especially with this episode where you've got Buggy's circus and all of the weird shit and noise that's going on there.
Yeah, like a lot of
that was all really good.
Yeah. And like I will say in that scene, like bar that sort of point, I really enjoyed overall. I really, really enjoyed over the first episode and the second episode. Peter Gaedio's performance as Shanks, I like it. It really sold it to me. I liked his sort of. He's a bit more serious, but he's still got a bit of charm about him. And I really liked his line delivery for when he said "get lost." Yeah, like I really liked that.
Is that what he says in the manga / anime as well? I don't recall.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he says. Yeah, he just says "get lost," and I really like that that line delivery there. And then like I quite liked Luffy's reaction to when he sees it. So yeah, I think overall I like that scene, but yeah, that one little moment is a bit of a miss. Yeah. I was going to bring up, because obviously this is going to probably get brought up in every episode as like just an overall positive, but the set design is so good. Like I love the circus tent. Yeah. I love that choice to have all of Buggy's stuff in a circus tent. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because like the anime, isn't it just like on especially the buggy bomb scene where they're making Nami light the buggy bomb at Luffy, like that's just on a random rooftop or something, right?
Yeah, it's just like, and
then fights take place in the streets.
Yeah, there's nothing per se wrong with that, but I think that's a good creative decision that sort of elevated in a way to have it all in the circus tent. And it also helps with like, they get to have a bit of fun with the lighting and stuff like that. And with him messing with the spotlight and all the cues there, like I thought that was really fun. And there was one shot where Luffy's lit up red, Nami's lit up orange, and Zoro's lit up green. And I thought that was just really cool.
All right. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really fun.
I enjoyed the bit too when Buggy is first walking in and the whole spotlight thing where he's obsessed with not sharing the spotlight, and every time the spotlight operator has to like quickly move over to Buggy having Buggy in it.
I really liked that in general, just all of his little like things throughout the episode where he'd be like complaining, or like he'd just like tell the audience to laugh, or then they'd do it when he didn't tell them to. And he was just
I said, that's a laugh.
Like all of that. Shit. Yeah. Just that's so Buggy. Like I really like that because it sort of plays into like his, I guess, like insecurity and stuff like that as a character. So he's got all of this performative aspect around him. So I think that really fits as a good translation. Yeah. Speaking of Buggy, should we talk about the chop fruit?
Yeah, we can definitely talk about the chop fruit. You tell me. I'm pretty sure that you like it, but please elaborate.
I like it. I think it looks good. I like the choice that they made where they just did like when you see the CG of it, you can just see it's just sort of blank skin on any of the connections. So I think that was a good choice. It just probably makes it easier. And I do think, again, that the lighting of the set helped hide any like little inconsistencies and stuff. So it never popped out as being bad to me. Like it all looked good. Yeah.
I think they've done a good job so far with both the chop and Luffy's gum. They keep the usages to less so the chop because this is the episode where they introduce Buggy, so he has to use the power a lot. But they've kept Luffy's gum usage mostly to a minimum, obviously to keep the animators and the CG artists allowing them to go home to their families at some point. But, so, but I think it's been good. I agree. The chop fruit, especially the introduction of it, was really funny. Where Luffy punches his head off. Yeah, his head lands in some random woman's lap, and he's like wriggling around and it looks up, winks at her, and then it flies back into his body. It was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
I really like that. I also saw a hilarious set photo where it's the director of the episode, and it's a photo of it's him standing with Buggy and then with the prop head next to them. It's so good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but I know, I think they captured the chop fruit really well. And yeah, you can definitely tell that like they're having to choose their moments with when they use the gum fruit especially, but I think they're doing well at choosing the right moments and like to make it as effective as they can be. And yeah, obviously we'd love to all see it just like be used constantly like it is in the manga and the anime where Luffy's just constantly doing weird shit, but I think they're doing well with it because obviously there's going to be budget constraints and you can't constantly be having this dude stretch all over the place because it'd just be a nightmare. But yeah, I think they're doing well with it to keep it like, yeah, just choosing the good moments to use it.
Now I'm in your shoes. There was something I wanted to bring up like in the middle of what you were saying, and I kept listening and now it's completely lost to me.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's awful. How
could I?
Damn. I'll remember at some point maybe. Okay, but so until then, let's switch gears a little bit because part of this episode is not only dedicated to Buggy and Luffy's fighting, but also Kobe's struggles.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this stuff first. Actually, what did you think?
I think so. First of all, I think the guy who is playing Garp in particular is doing a pretty damn good job so far. I've already said also last episode that I think the guy who they got playing Kobe is also like a perfect Kobe. But I do enjoy this portrayal of Garp. He seems a little more, again, falling in line with the more serious tone that they are giving this show, the live action. This Garp is a little bit more serious in the way it deals with things. Now, you can also kind of see a little bit of the goofy side to him when he's got that one-on-one. I guess it's not really one-on-one because you got the other guy in the room, but when he's got Kobe in his office, you can kind of see that Garp is messing with him a little bit. He's not really that serious about throwing him out of the Marines because he kind of knows already that he was involved with Luffy and that Luffy is this goofy character. So
yeah,
I think,
and you can tell that he already knows that like Axe Handle was lying and stuff like that. So he's sort of he's messing with Kobe and testing whether Kobe is going to make the right choice.
Yes,
and stuff like that. So you can see that playfulness there. So I like that.
I do too. And the scene, I will say one thing with this Garp, I don't like the dog hat. I think this dog hat looks like they put it together in 5 minutes and said, "Here you go, guy. This is your Garp dog hat." I think it looks awful.
There's something, I don't know, there's something, I can see what you mean. Like, it's not the best looking hat, but there's something that just tickles my brain about him giving these like serious moments and talking, and he's just got this stupid hat on. Like, I really enjoy that, but the hat kind of looks like crap.
There is something a little novel about him having this $5 at-home cosplay hat and giving this very serious speech about being a traitor and the justice that the Marines are trying to dish out, and Axe Hand is tied up to a post directly behind him. He's walking up and down through the ranks of the Marines, and they're all staring him down, and the cadets can't decide whether they want to stare into Garp's eyes or the undead dog eyes. It
so
looks
funny.
not good.
No, but it's also
I can't get past it.
No, that's fine. I can see how it would be distracting, but there's something also, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there is something really comedic about just no one ever bringing it up.
Who's going to bring it up to him?
Yeah, I know.
Who's going to tell the vice admiral that his
hat looks
paper
like
mache
shit.
dog hat looks awful?
Absolutely, man. It's so dumb. But yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Like the scene, like imagines is someone bringing it up, like Helmeppo or something.
I can imagine seeing that, because going forward, Garp is seemingly going to be dealing with Kobe more often. So if they give this Kobe more cojones, more gusto, then maybe he'll be more willing to be like, what's up with that like awful hat you're wearing? And have Garp like playfully punch him on the shoulder, but also send Kobe flying across a training ring or something like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I love. There's also like a little bit of like a just like a teensy bit of like a sense of a bit of insanity with Garp. Like when he's like he's like slapping Kobe on the shoulder and he's like telling him that like we're gonna catch him, and then Kobe's just staring at him with fear and he's just getting shaken.
It's true. Garp does that like 2 or 3 times. He like grabs him on the shoulder, gives him a quick shake, does it again, slaps his hand back on the same shoulder, shakes him. Like, what is going on? Kobe's so scared.
It's because they extended the shot. Like you get the first shot where he like, it's sort of meant to, like it's sort of like it's like him trying to be a bit heartwarming, like we're gonna catch him, and then the shot switches to this close up of Kobe just getting shaken
with a 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm liking this portrayal of Garp, and I didn't expect to like enjoy the Scottish accent as much as I do. I think it fits him perfectly.
Yeah, it fits the look of Garp.
Definitely.
You know, he's got that bushy beard, scar running down his side, a buzz cut on his head, you know, like same as the anime. And it's I think it does do pretty good. I want to go back to one thing I didn't expect to get in this live action, and that's somebody feeding the snail chats.
Oh my god, I was going to bring that up as well. I forgot to. That shot was
it's
so
the establishing
disturbing
shot of the scene. It's just the snail chat munching on some lettuce leaves. and it's Garp. Garp is feeding Axehand Morgan's snail chat just some lettuce leaves.
Oh my god! Do you know what? Imagine this for like I would have found it hilarious. Do you know the lettuce leaf joke from Avatar: The Last Airbender with Boomy?
Yeah,
it just made me think of that. Oh my god! Because just Kobe's just like wanting to get out of there so quick.
Kobe walks in the room, awkwardly sits at the chair, and Garp just keeps feeding.
Yeah, he's just feeding this thing. It's so. I do love that they went practical for the Den mushies. Like they're good. They look good. They look creepy, but they look good.
Yeah, they're a bit unsettling, but I think it's about as good as you could probably make them for what they are.
I don't think there's any way that you could make those not unsettling. I think the fact that they gave them teeth makes it more unsettling, but like
yeah, I can agree with that.
But like I've noticed that in general with like, and I'm sort of just keeping it to like these episodes, but like the goofy world of One Piece is like very novel in the anime and the manga, but when you translate some of it to live action, it creates like a little bit of an unsettling feel. But I think they've run with that a little bit, and I kind of like it. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but like there's a weirdness to it. And in the anime, you just sort of laugh at it. But in this, it sort of makes it a little bit unsettling. But I'm like, I'm down for it, and I kind of like it. But there's this slight sense of like, it's funny, but it's also like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah. And because I remembered what I wanted to mention earlier, there's with the whole devil fruit thing, where if you eat a devil fruit, you can't swim anymore. I think they did a pretty good job of show don't tell here, because the first mention of it is Machina. Is it an M or an N? I don't remember. Machina from Luffy's village telling Luffy like, hey, you've eaten a devil fruit now. That means you've signed a deal with the devil, and the Mother Ocean isn't going to like that. And that's about all you get at the time. And then later on, I forget exactly if it's Luffy in the tank or flashback Luffy drowning in the water, but either one of those times, I think it's Luffy in the tank in Buggy Circus, because then he starts trying to punch his way out, but he can't gum, and then Buggy goes like, that's not going to work. That's seawater. Sorry, brother. And after a while, you start just kind of piecing together that if the devil fruit users get dunked in seawater, then they experience an extreme lack of use of their powers and or can't swim.
Yeah, I think they portrayed that quite well. And it's like a good example of show don't tell. And I really like it there, but it also kind of like puts into perspective some of the other like on the nose dialogue that's there. I wish they would have been a bit more show don't tell with some other stuff as well. but it's good that it's here. Like, I like it there. But yeah, it just shows that like they have like they could have done it a bit more, and they just went a little bit more on the nose with some of the dialogue, which is a little bit unfortunate, but like overall,
yeah.
Like, it's cool that I really like that scene where he's in the tank. It was a creative way to show that, like, the effect on Devil Fruit users.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's sort of a thing that I bet is going to be sparing because they've only got 8 episodes, roughly 8 hours to describe all of these niche things of the One Piece world that is done in like 50-ish episodes of the anime is what they cover with these 8 episodes of the Netflix show. So unfortunately, as a byproduct, they kind of have to just lore at you for a minute or two. But I think in this particular instance, it was done fairly well. Now, if Devin were here, I bet he would still hate it because even Buggy going like, seawater probably would have been over the edge for Devin because Devin he complained a couple of minutes worth last episode about show don't tell for something. I don't remember what it was anymore, but I know it was brought up. So
yeah,
I know that's a big part of his problem.
I can understand the complaint in other contexts, but I couldn't get behind it in this context. Like, that's one where it's actually like done well. Like, it's just simply is. Like, you get the context clues and then there's a little bit of description, but it's nothing too heavy. So like, yeah, there is definitely a bit of a bit too much like overt lore dumpy stuff here and there, and like sometimes the character work is a bit overt with like the lines and stuff like that, but like in this case it was done really well. And like even then with it's not so egregious that it takes me out of it. It is just, it's there enough that I notice it.
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah. I wanted to mention one thing just because I saw it on my like notes here, but it's just coming back to sort of the Devil Fruit and stuff. But I don't know if you caught this. It's so quick. But did you know when Buggy first shows his powers and all that, and then there's that little reveal where he brings his arm up and his hand's not there, and then he punches Luffy in the back of the head?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right, because like obviously it's like Luffy gets knocked out, so it's like a fade to black. As it fades to black, you can see the floating hand just give Luffy the finger as he falls over.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
Go back and check it. It's so funny. He just like punches him and then it reels back and then just gives him the finger.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it's also, he gives him, it was like the knockout gas too, so it just like instantly, for some reason it worked way quicker this time as well too, but I gotta check that. That was awesome.
Yeah, maybe the combo of the knockout gas and then getting punched in the head worked well.
I went back to the first episode also, because Devin's quick eye saw a moment where Zoro's sheath like folds under him when he does a roll away from somebody. And I believed it at the time, but I had to go back and see it with my own eyes. And then somebody else posted in the Discord a clip of it as well from like Instagram Reel or something to that effect. And it was quite funny to just watch the sheath bend at like a 90-degree angle.
That's pretty funny. You're gonna get little things like that every now and then.
Yeah, of course. But it kind of, I don't know. It's not like that awful to me. It's just kind of like one of those funny things that just pick out. Yeah, it's whatever. But speaking of funny things, do you have any other like funny or like things you didn't awful moments, things you just hated? I don't think you like outright hated anything here.
No, there's nothing in this episode that's like, and this goes for a lot of the show. Like there are things that I don't like and there are things that I have problems with, but there's nothing that I'm like outright hate, or there's nothing that I'm like, oh, this can't be like sort of fixed in a second season or like addressed in a second season if it's missed here. You know what I mean? So there was nothing here that I outright hated. There was a couple moments like when they just sort of grab Zoro and Nami and take him out the back and tie them up. Like, I don't get why Zoro just let himself get grabbed.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't tied up or anything. Like, and like, I'm not saying he could have like just easily won the fight, but like, that's not the kind of thing that I would say that Zoro would do. Like, he would have put up a bit of a fight there, and he just sort of let himself get grabbed and taken away. And also, like, how did Luffy get tied up? Like, how did it, like, I could sort of just like headcanon it and be like, Luffy didn't really care what was happening and he just let himself get tied up because that's something he would do. But you sort of just cut to the scene and he's on this stretching thing. And I'm like, okay, how did they manage to get him on that?
Yeah.
There's a couple
I
things
agree.
like that.
I agree with the Luffy thing. I think the Zoro bit is a lot more egregious because We watched him literally last episode lift up a safe with a bunch of stuff in it. The stuff inside wasn't that heavy, but the safe itself, there's several 100 pounds. So the fact that he couldn't just, knock a couple heads together when he was getting jumped in the first place, or when he's on the spinning thing, just rip himself out of the ropes. So you got to kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit so that the plot can kind of progress in a certain way.
Those couple of moments definitely felt like a plot needs to happen. So this sort of happened. So I'm not like I noticed it and I'm not happy with it, but it's not like something that I'm like gonna be like, oh no, this is ruining my experience. It's just one of those things where I'm like, that wouldn't have that didn't have to happen the way it did. But but the Luffy one, like I can sort of just be like the Buggy just being like, now you're gonna get tied up in this thing, and Luffy would have just been like, okay, because I love that. One of like the funny things is that like Buggy's like trying to stretch him out as if it's gonna hurt him, and then like you hear Luffy screaming, and then it cuts to him, and he's just laughing. I like that little reveal, like that little sort of like subversion there where you hear him screaming and then it cuts to him and he's just like, That
kind of tickles.
It's just kind of goofy. I like that. I'm trying to think if there's another little funny moment that I like was just, it's such a stupid little moment, but when Buggy punches the glass and hurts himself.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I like these, there was all these little gags that just got that little chuckle out of me. There was nothing that had me like rolling on the floor, but like just like all little gags that like they landed for me most of the time.
Yeah, these are the kind of things that keep you, especially the people who know the goofiness of the anime. This is the kind of stuff that keeps them interested when the overall tone has been made more serious. Stuff like this is what keeps that vibe of the anime and the manga intact a bit.
It's keeping that levity of like, it's more serious, but it's like them sort of telling you like, we're not going so serious. Like we're still keeping this like happy-go-lucky. Like you never really felt in like it got a bit darker when Luffy was like in the tank and all that, but then he gets out and it's like that. Like there was, I had a lot of fun with this episode, and I think I can say that for the show in general is that I'm having fun with it. There's stuff to dissect, there's stuff to nitpick, but like I think it's pretty successful overall at just getting the One Piece vibe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Do you have any last minute thoughts or tribulations to express before we move on to quotes?
Last minute little one. I'm so happy that they kept little Buggy.
Yes.
It's like, that is amazing that they did that.
That was good.
I did not expect them to do it, and it looked so hilarious. Like not bad, but it just looks so funny. And I just love that they kept the bazooka and he just gets absolutely just yeeted out of the tent.
Yes.
So I love that. Final thoughts. I have like, there's issues and sort of pointing out some of them. There's probably more to point out. But like, I'm not here to just like completely like, I choose to focus on the positives with this show rather than focusing on the negatives, and I'm having fun with it. So I'm glad. And I guess one last little thing is just, I'll just bring this up because this is just in general on my view with the live action. I got a message out of the blue from one of my mates today who like, I've been trying to get into One Piece for ages, and he got up to like Syrup Village in the anime and then was like not having fun with that. And like he was having fun with the anime, but Syrup Village was a bit boring, so he just sort of stopped and then never picked it back up. And I'd mentioned to him about the live action, and he was like, yeah, I might check it out when it comes out. It looks a bit fun. I checked the trailers. And then I just get this random message from him today, and he goes, hey man, just finished the live action. Loving it. Loved it. Time to start the anime. And I was just like, that just gave me like the warm fuzzies. Like, that's so cool. That like, and that's why I'm stoked that this live action is getting the reception it's getting. Because with whatever criticisms I have, and I could like, I'm sure there's stuff I could really dissect and get real negative on with some issues and stuff. But like,
give me one quick one, because we've been a little too positive this episode. I promised the people in the summary that there was going to be some spice out of you. So give me like one. Give me one. All right.
All right. Let me give one. I think that. Yeah, I think just some of the character, like I'll start this with sort of a positive. I'm liking the character portrayals, but I think the character development is a real issue here in some ways. That we're just like, and this is not as much an issue as right now, this episode, as it comes up a bit more later, but there's just not the same weight on some of the moments that have that weight. And so you've got to kind of really look for it. And like, if you know the source material, you can fill in the gaps. But for someone that's never seen it before, there is gaps there in the character, not the characterization, but the character development. Like it's just a bit loose and a bit lackluster, I think, overall. And I definitely think some of the writing is a bit lazy in some of the moments. And like when you've got such good source material there, I think it gets a little bit hard to make excuses as to why, like other than it being a bit rushed. I think it's like you have such good source material there, you didn't really need to change these character aspects and stuff like that. Like especially when like there's a really good character moment in this arc that I think is really sad that it's not there. And they tried to sort of hit it, but it just doesn't hit. And it's when Nami is like just screaming at Luffy about how bad pirates are and why she hates them and how they're all like this and they just burn stuff down and they ruin lives. And then Luffy just walks past her and puts down the dog food for Choo Choo. And he's like, I'm sorry, this is all that was left. And then she just like is shocked and has that moment. And in this show, there was like a moment at the end where the mayor sort of just goes, oh, are you our new captors? You're pirates, aren't you? And Luffy just goes, we're not those kind of pirates. And then there's like a shot of Nami that she sort of looks at him, has like a little, it's sort of implied that that's that little moment of realization. But like that's just really lackluster compared to the original. Like that's just not, it's just not as good. So I think it's moments like that's where my biggest criticism comes in for the show. A lot of the other stuff I'm loving, but those character moments, which I think are so integral to One Piece, I'm sad that some of those are getting missed or are sort of like a shadow of what they were.
Yeah, I think to a lesser extent, Zoro kind of fits in there too, where
absolutely
at one point in this episode, it feels like a switch is just thrown in Zoro's head, and he's like, "Yeah, Luffy's pretty cool." He doesn't outright say it, but at this point, he's already accepted Luffy as his captain, and it's just like, I'm on this crew now. And Nami hasn't, but it doesn't feel as earned.
No. And like, I like the line that Zoro says where he's like, I don't need to believe in him. He believes in himself. Like, I think that's a cool line. Like, it's a bit on the nose, but I think that's a good line to summarize Luffy. But like, there was nothing leading up to that to give it any weight or give it any reason. He just sort of said it. And I'm like, I need to, I know that like he's seen Luffy and Luffy like sort of like set him free in the last episode and like, that's great. But there's not that correlation there of like, that's why Oda's writing is so revered and so good, is that everything ties back to the character and what he's doing with the character and all those little moments that seem goofy and silly at the start. And then you get the clarification and you have this moment where it all comes together and you see that really cool bit of character work. And so I think that's the main bit that's missing. I love the performances. I love the characterization, but the character development, I think I'm a colder on that. So yeah, there's I know it's not that spicy, but that's my spicy take.
Well, because you brought up that Zoro quote, do you have any other specific quotes from the episode you'd like to give? Yeah,
well, I said like before, like just get lost. I love that quote. And I think they nailed it in this one. I love the performance there. There was one, when Nami comes in and she's like, what did you do to their town? You destroyed everything. And then Buggy goes, not everything. I let them keep their hands. And then like the applause thing comes up. I was like, that is like such a like good, like dark comedic line.
Just a fuck you. Like,
yeah,
just
real
a real
fuck you.
like,
And
screw you.
Yeah. And his delivery of it was great. And it's like, that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I really like that. For like, that's really messed up. They're like, it's like implying that I only let them keep their hands so they can applaud me. Like, I like that. That's really cool. That was good. And then there was just one where Buggy just goes, surprise, shithead, after Zoro tries to cut him. I just liked that, the delivery of it.
Yep.
Buggy going like, wait, before he gets kicked, gets bazookaed out. And there was one, I just liked the line delivery of Lucky Roo saying, if you're lucky. That was just, I don't know why, it just got me. When he's like, you've given us, Shanks like, you've given us so much food, but Lucky Roo will probably eat it in 3 hours. And he's just walking past and goes, if you're lucky. What about you though? What was your quotes?
I really enjoyed at the end of the episode where the mayor is presenting Luffy with a box of rations, and Luffy's like, oh, no, I can't take this. This is the replacement to Nami leaving all of the treasure on the island, because that's another thing. Nami isn't as clearly money grubbing as she was in the anime. I don't want to like dive too deeply into it, but
I agree. I wish
it's a little
that was a bit
disappointing
there. Because that's a really funny moment when they're floating away and Nami's like, because Luffy's the one that leaves it.
Yes.
And Nami's like, where's the money? And he's like, I left it for them. They need it more than we do. And then she just freaks out. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
But in this, they present Luffy with the box of snacks and rations, and Luffy goes, "Oh no, I can't take this. You guys need this." And then he starts walking away, and Zoro and Nami are on the boat already, and he gets to like the end of the gangway, the dock there, and he thinks to himself real quick, jogs back over, picks up one like, I don't know, piece of bread or something, and goes, maybe just a snack.
Yeah, I do really like that they're keeping the Luffy always being hungry stuff in there. It also created like a little good moment when he didn't want to eat in the flashback.
Yeah.
Because you already know enough about the character to know that he always wants to eat. So yeah, I like that. It's like in the first episode when he's like food for the brain when he's trying to plan. So yeah, no, I agree.
The only other quote I have is when I don't remember exactly what Buggy says to Luffy, or actually I think this is Buggy like just monologuing while Luffy's in the tank about how people are going to respect him and people are going to love him when he becomes the king of the pirates. And Luffy, while semi-drowning in water, goes, "You can't make people love you, just like you can't make them smile." And I think that was a huge got him.
That's a good line.
From Luffy to Buggy. I really like that one.
Yeah, no, I like that too. Yeah.
But yeah, so with that being done, it's time to move on to the illustrious Golden Ham for the episode.
Golden Ham.
I think I kind of know what we're both going to pick here.
See, here's yes. Before we go with the obvious pick, I just want to bring up like my sort of options for it. Like,
sure.
Obviously, the standout is Buggy, and that's probably what I'm going to go for. But I will also say, like, I really liked Shanks in this episode, and I really liked Luffy in this episode. And it feels really hard to not give it to one of those two, especially Luffy, because like Inyaki's doing so well. But Jeff Ward just killed it as Buggy. Like he was just a highlight for me. He was great the whole way through. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Buggy.
I have to separate my opinions of Buggy in the anime from Buggy the live action, because Buggy in the live action is almost he's like 50% a different character right now as it stands than this point in the anime, and I really like this portrayal so far of Buggy. I agree though that Shanks is a pretty close second. Again, not something we really have to get into, but half of these characters have just, I can't get past the wigs they're wearing. And I'm sure that's probably a problem that a lot of people have, but I feel like it needs to just be stated here before we go any farther in the show, because I'm sure there'll be more bad ones.
I'll put my little sort of take on it. When I first saw and I'll just be really quick with this. When I first saw the trailers, I was also the same, where like I was like, oh, these wigs are pretty bad and noticeable. And this continues out throughout the show, but the more of the show I watched, just the less I noticed them, because they really committed to some of the ridiculous outfits and stuff. So when you've got that kind of set design and all of these, like even in this episode with all the circus stuff, the wigs just don't stick out as much. And so I don't have as much of an issue now as I did at the start with them. Like they're there and like you notice them, but my focus after a few episodes, my focus on them was just not there.
They do a good job whenever the person is wearing something on their head. You know, Buggy is very frequently either wearing his captain's hat or a bandana. And so his is goes under the radar, but Shanks especially takes his straw hat off multiple times during the episodes. And there are some scenes where it's okay, even without the hat.
Yeah.
But sometimes without the hat, it's just like they just threw it on his head and said action.
I think the best one is Zoro's. Like I've never felt like that is out of place.
His looks dyed. He looks like he has dyed hair to me.
So I sort of was curious. He dyed the sides and the top's a wig.
Okay.
Yeah. But so that one fits really well. I think Shanks's one, I didn't really notice that much. There was maybe one shot where I picked it up, but it wasn't too bad and I didn't care too much. I think probably the most obvious one is there's a couple scenes where Nami's looks really, really obviously kind of bad. But then there's other scenes where it like looks good. And I'm like, okay, that looks fine. Yeah. So it's just weird. There's just some shots.
I don't know if it's a lighting thing or they just tried harder to conceal it at some points, but
or maybe
whatever.
one filming day that just didn't go on as well.
They
as
just didn't have the proper hairdresser. She called out that day, whatever it is.
Sick.
Yeah. All right. So officially, the Golden Ham's going to Buggy.
Yeah,
correct?
we're giving it to Buggy. We've got to. You can't not. Yeah.
Yep. That sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
So now at this kind of junction in the show here, I'm going to take this time to kind of highlight you as the guest and as someone who's part of our Discord community, because that's where a majority of the guests for these episodes are being pulled from. So I'm going to take this time to ask you a couple questions quickly, just for fun.
Let's do it.
This one non-One Piece related, because I want to know what you're currently most obsessed with that isn't One Piece. And I have a guess, but maybe you'll subvert my expectation.
Would your guess be
musically related?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Is it going to be musically? There's definitely a bit of that going on. The new I've got a few things actually right now. The new Hosier album is a definite obsession of mine, as is the new Polaris album. Hosier, obviously, if you don't know Hosier, Where Are You? Does beautiful folky, poppy, soul-y, R&B music, and his new album is amazing. The lyrical content is all based around Dante's Inferno, and as you go through the album, you go down the Inferno, and it's really cool, and you can relate it back to the stanzas and stuff. Polaris just released a new album, and it's amazing. Also kind of hard to listen to with the context around it. But if you want to look into that. There was a bit of a tragedy in the band, but the new album is amazing, and I'm so happy that they decided to release it in honor of their guitarist. Other than music, though, I'm going to put this one out there because I've been really getting back into reading fantasy and stuff like that. The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson has been one of my obsessions lately. It is an amazing book series. Just ask me or Kiwi in the Discord. We've been talking about it massively. It's really good. And then also related to fantasy and fantasy shows, The Wheel of Time just released the first 3 episodes of their second season, which is based on the book series The Wheel of Time, which is a big fantasy series. And the first season I enjoyed, but it was plagued by an actor leaving halfway through and COVID reshoots and stuff like that. So the first season was a bit of, not a flop, but just it fell off at the last few episodes. Mm-hmm. But I've just watched the first 2 episodes of the new season, and it's a definite upgrade. So if you want a bit of a fantasy show, not as dark as say something like Game of Thrones, but still got some dark enough, some horror vibes in there as well. Bit of if you were to say Lord of the Rings is one end of the spectrum and Game of Thrones is on the other, it sort of sits in the middle there. So if you want a good fantasy show to watch, check out The Wheel of Time. It takes a bit to get going, and there's some definite flops in there with some episodes, but overall a fun show.
Cool. So the following questions are going to be a little more One Piece centric. So if you, Funky D Loopy, could ask Oda to change one thing about the story, and he would have to do it, you cannot say no, what do you think you would want?
Can I go further along? Obviously.
If you're going to mention anything outside of the live action, try and keep spoilers to a minimum.
Okay.
Preferably.
All right. I'm just gonna say an arc name and a character name, and anyone that knows will get the context. What I would change is
how about before you the arc, give the acronym, the initials of it. Thriller Bark would be TB, know what I'm saying? Because I don't know some of the future arcs either. So in case you're going that deep.
I'm not going that deep. It's actually TB.
Oh, okay.
So you just
yikes. Dylan, cut that.
Yeah, no, yeah, Dylan, please. I've treated you well before, Club.
That's fine.
Please.
Names aren't that big of a deal.
I would change some of Sanji's lines in Thriller Bark.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yep. I think to keep it spoiler free, I think what happened there, if you change some of those lines and change Sanji's intention behind some of those lines, you could have fixed that issue really easily. But it is a massive issue. But if you just change some of the lines there, you could fix it and make it way better. So that would be the main thing. I would change that.
Mm-hmm. Man, my brain really farted there. I said, don't spoil anything. And then I named something like halfway through the show. It's not halfway. It's like 300 episodes, but whatever.
That's right. There's no context. There's like so little context there. It's all good.
All right. So following that, for anybody who might pick up One Piece after this, for instance, your mate, as you mentioned earlier, what kind of advice do you have for them going forward?
I would say if you want to, go back and check the stuff out that you just watched in live action, because then you can have some real fun comparing and contrasting and seeing what was done better, what was done worse, how your opinion sort of changed. But my advice would be read it, don't watch it.
Okay.
No, if you want to watch it, but just be aware that it's going to take you a long time. And if you're wanting to get into the story quicker and faster, I would probably say pick up the manga, because there's colored versions of the manga online, or you can read the black and white. The artwork's really good, and you're going to get a pacing that is a lot closer to what you just watched than if you switch to the anime. Because if you switch from the live action to the anime, you are going to get massive whiplash with the pacing, and you probably will still get that with the manga, but it won't be as intense. But yeah, that's just my opinion though. Watch or read whatever you want with it. But yeah, I would recommend going with the manga rather than the anime.
You've read the whole manga, right?
Yeah, that's how I first experienced the story.
Okay.
I read it in high school.
Oh, wow.
And
you're
then,
a way backer.
Yeah. And then I went back and watched, sort of went through and mixed One Piece and the regular anime for the bits they hadn't edited yet. And so I guess I would say if you want to get into the anime, maybe check out One Piece. There are some bits that were edited a while ago and it's not as clean, but overall they did a really good job of editing it. And if you want to get it a bit quicker, then check that out.
Cool. So
and
lastly here, yes, movie 6. Definitely movie 6. Lastly here, is Shanks a bad person for indoctrinating children into this life of crime? Because surely Luffy's not the first one.
Wait, what?
Surely there's like bunch of kids out there with straw hats like, oh, I'm gonna be king of the pirates, I'm Straw Hat, I don't know, Schmoofy, Boofy, Toofy.
Oh my god. Toofy, Threefy. So you're implying this is an ongoing problem that this man has?
Yeah, it's just some kind of weird pyramid scheme he has.
If you're implying it like that, then yeah, that is horrible to be doing that, indoctrinating these kids into life of crime and danger.
I agree. But finally, someone talking sense.
Yeah, exactly. But in an actual sense, in the context of the world, and obviously a lot of the context around this stuff is not there yet, so I won't say any more on that. But with later context on the way the world works and all that in the show, I would say not necessarily. It's more about the person you are than what sort of side you allegiance yourself to. Very
noble of you.
Yeah.
That doesn't make Shanks less of a bad person, no?
Yeah, true. I'm trying to.
I know. I get it. Trying to let him down easy, you know?
Let him down easy. But also, what are you doing to these 10-year-olds? That's not okay.
Poor kids.
These poor kids, man.
I think they're younger, actually. I think Luffy is supposed to be 7 or something.
Yeah.
Awful.
Jesus. Awful.
Well, we've reached the end here. Funky, I'll say this was a pleasure. I enjoy having conversation with you no matter what it's about.
Thank you so much for having me. That was good fun.
And I'll take my this brief aside, if you'll excuse me quickly. This episode brought to you by our lovely Patreon producers Twiggo and Jober for the month. Thank you. You're the best. We love you. Please continue to dump your hard-earned money on us so that we can give you maybe good content sometimes.
Yeah. Also, that you're gonna
don't
need
make
to
me watch Mamma Mia too, please.
You're gonna need to, because I'm about to invoice these boys out.
Oh God, no. Funky, why don't you tell the people what you've got going on before I give my own social plugs?
All right. I guess we're doing the same shameless band plug again.
Of course, do whatever your heart's desire.
Well, that's, I guess, all I've got on. Well, first I'll say, if you're not in the Discord, come join the Discord. It's so much fun. We get into amazing arguments.
That's my job. All right.
Okay. I won't take your job. For myself,
Trying to Devin me out here.
Oh, gee, I'm so sorry. How could I? I don't want to be related to that man, even though apparently he's my father now that ran away.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's confusing. I guess on my own thing then, I'm a musician. If you're into metal, check out my band Matahari, Matahari. We're on Spotify. Give us some listens. We play fun metalcore stuff. It's I think it's pretty good. You might hate it, but give us a check out if you want to. But yeah, that's mainly it for me.
Cool. Check it out. I've listened to his stuff too. It's pretty good if you're into that sort of thing. As for us, we have been Panda Sightings. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Panda Sightings. If you'd like to send us emails, let us know your opinions on the live action as it stands so far. That's pandasightings@gmail.com. If you'd like to join Twiggo, Jober, and several other people who enjoy us enough to give us money, our Patreon is also Panda Sightings. And as Funky alluded to earlier, if you'd like to converse with other like-minded people in our community, we have a lovely Discord that is in the link tree. And that has been the episode.
Whoop, whoop.
Funky, once again, a pleasure as always. I hope you have a good night.
Yes, you got it right. There we go.
Night.
Beautiful.
We're
also,
on a bit of a time difference.
I'm going to be, just a bit of one. Not as big as usual.
No. I heard what you said.
I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice this time. Rate them 5 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, you thought.
I did. I
didn't
trust you.
Predict me. You can never predict Loopy.
All right, that's it. Get out of here.
We're done.
Get out of here, you damn kids. Get off my lawn.